and sisters, we've all turned up the radio to hear Brother Jimmy Lakey, from coast to coast and shore to shore. Now raise your voice, oh let us all, Jimmy Lakey, get out of bed, Jimmy Lakey, raise your voice, Jimmy Lakey, Lakey, hey, can't live without it with Jimmy Lakey, Jimmy Lakey.
All right, here we are, the Lakey Entertainment Towers, located in a very undisclosed location. We also call it, well, Studio One, the podcast Studio One. The Charlie Kirk photo that I posted up the other night, that is going in Studio Two, which is where we do another podcast out of called the Critical Mission Podcast. Everybody see that? Doug Childs is going to be on the show hopefully tomorrow. That's the Charlie Kirk print that I had done. That's canvas, very lovely. And there we go. Revelation 14:13. Look it up. Blessed are those who die in the Lord. They will rest from their hard work. Their good deeds will follow them. So there we have it. Yeah. Could put it back there, but not going to do that. That's going in the other studio. All right. Welcome to the program, everybody. It's, what is it? Thursday edition of the show. Jimmy Lakey is my name. The second day of October. Year of our Lord 2025. The Schumer shutdown is still going on. It is the Schumer shutdown, and the Democrats seemingly, I believe it's not going to last that long. They're seemingly in chaos. I heard this morning that Donald Trump went ahead and made sure everybody got paid yesterday, although that was optional. That's what I heard, that he went ahead and cleared payments. If you're a government worker, did you get paid yesterday? The real moment of truth is going to be the 14th and 15th, when another round of paychecks are supposed to go out to people that are employed by the government. And that will be the time that the chickens will come home to roost and the paychecks won't go out, and they will be stuck in a bank account until the government reopens. So anyway, if that was you yesterday, government employee, get a government paycheck, did you get your money yesterday? I'm told that was optional, but it seems as if it seems that's what the news is reporting, that they did actually get paid. Did you see Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez? You ever notice? She's like a teenage girl. They get all sassy and they want to go like this, like, girlfriend, we're going to talk. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez says, I keep hearing that the shutdown is all because of me, and so you can come to my office and negotiate. And they do all that stuff. Where does that come from? Is that, I don't know. Is that an imitation? Is that a Kardashian thing? I don't know, but she's snap her finger. And then they go to Nancy Pelosi and Botox Nancy. They said, Botox Nancy, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez says that she's the chief negotiator. She's in charge of this negotiation, and people should knock on her door to negotiate. And Nancy did not like that and said, that's not right. She's a team player, and she's a really good girl. I think I do that. I don't know where that came from. I feel like Oprah. You get a Toyota or you get a car, whatever they gave away. Anyway, good to have all of you. I don't know. I watched the video of AOC doing that yesterday. Come knock on my door. And I'm thinking, honey, anybody knocking at your door could be the feds. Anyway, I was just going to say something tacky, but you know me, I would never say anything tacky. I wouldn't do that. All right, good morning. The Schumer shutdown continues. Is AOC the chief negotiator? Nancy says no. We shall find out. I have this story that I think is just fantastic. It's the dirty little secret of government shutdowns. When a government is shut down, I did not know this because it really doesn't happen this way. It is the Congress now not passing a budget, and they are then ceding the power of the purse over to the presidency. So when Congress can't get its job done and pass a budget, the government must operate. And so the chief executive officer gets a lot more power when the Congress has ceded its position of the power of the purse to the president. And so President Trump, in previous years, all presidents have used the power of furlough and said, we're not going to pay you. We'll give you back pay perhaps, but you're just going to have to, you're laid off, or you're furloughed for a period of time because you're non-essential. Well, President Trump has been discussing with the OMB, Office of Management and Budget, that he's ready to get rid of these scam agencies. Remember back in DOGE, President Trump was trying to get rid of entire agencies or large swaths of them, and he was blocked in court cases and stuff. Well, this is a clear constitutional victory for the president because Congress has basically, by not passing this budget or this continuing resolution, they have basically ceded the power of the purse to the president until they pass a budget. And therefore, President Trump does have the authority to do permanent layoffs. According to Newsmax this morning, President Trump said Thursday that he's meeting with Russ Vought, who's the director of Office of Management and Budget, on the Project 20. This guy helped put together what they call the Project 2025 that discuss eliminating what the Democrats, he calls the Democrats scam agencies. He says, I had a meeting today with Russ Vought, he's the Project 25 fame, to determine which of the many Democrat agencies, most of which are political scams, he recommends that we cutting the entire agency. I can't believe the radical left Democrats have given me this unprecedented opportunity. They are not stupid people, so maybe this is their way of wanting to quietly and quickly, maybe they just really want to make America great again, signed President Donald J. Trump. So it's going to be interesting to see what are these scam agencies that go bye-bye. And that's something that I think the Democrats have not been asked about. Hey, by closing up the government, by not doing that which you've done 13 times with the exact same piece of paper, and you've just kept things going. You could have done this for 7 more weeks. You just gave the president unprecedented power that he's going to be able to take and shut down some of these scam agencies. So going to be interesting to see what agencies may be on the chopping block. When they talked about layoffs at first, I'm thinking they're going to trim the size. But President Trump is actually talking, we're going to eliminate some agencies, some bureaucracies that are not essential to the operation of our government. So hold on to your hats. Hakeem and Chuck have stepped into it. And what they've stepped into is not scraping off the bottom of their shoe very, very quickly. They're just it's a mess for Chuck and it's a mess for Chuck and Hakeem. And Hakeem thinks he's still relevant, not realizing that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez says, "Don't knock on Hakeem's door, knock on my door. I'm the chief negotiator." And now Nancy Pelosi is like, she's not the chief negotiator. So it's a little bit of civil war breaking out among the Democrats. And even though the media is always biased, I think that the media has been asking some pretty decently fair questions of the Democrats. They have jumped into this thing. Whenever you have a government shutdown and you're trying to argue the principle of why you couldn't vote for the continuing resolution, that's what you should be saying. We've got to hold out on this. We got to hold out on this. They can't. The Democrats cannot go out there and say we want to restore that which was rescinded from the big beautiful bill, or passed in the big beautiful bill, and we want to give health care benefits and or insurance to illegals. Now, 2 things you need to know. I heard J.D. Vance point this out yesterday, that if an illegal alien in this great country shows up, and they're criminals, and they show up to an emergency facility, let's say having a heart attack or some kind of an accident, they are going to get health care. There's not going to be turned away and say, I'm sorry, you're not going to get it. There is emergency health care available to people that show up in our emergency rooms across America. Illegal aliens in an emergency situation, showing up at an ER, picked up in an ambulance or what have you, would still get health care. It's the day-to-day health care that's not going to be given to blanket citizens. So when they say you've got to restore the health care to the illegals, we already have some measure of health care to anybody that rich or poor, black or white, Hispanic or Asian, it doesn't matter. You're going to get health care at a hospital in an emergency situation. And that is also something that is funded by a government program, but it's not something that we're going to do blanket health care and prescription drug plans to everybody who has donned our country's citizenship illegally, and they're not really citizens. So it's a losing battle when all the Democrats can do is talk about, what do they talk about? The Sombrero Gate. I have a question. I know that there's been a phrase called cultural appropriation, that if you're a white cracker, you can't put a sombrero on your head and go to a Halloween party because supposedly you are what is it, culturally appropriating. Here's the other thing you can't do. You can't go out into the crop or the fields or the garden and wear a sombrero if you're a honky, if you're a cracker, because that would be cultural appropriation. However, figure this one out. If you go to the local Mexican food restaurant and you tell them you have a birthday, they will oftentimes set you in your chair and put a sombrero on you. So at which point is that cultural appropriation? Is it only cultural appropriation if you're at the Mexican restaurant, and if you're not, is it only cultural appropriation if you wear it for Halloween, but you can wear it at the Mexican restaurant when it's your birthday? Or is it not cultural appropriation whenever the Mexican or the Hispanic server puts the sombrero on your head? Because if it's the crowning of the sombrero that makes it either racist or not racist or culturally inappropriate or cultural appropriation or what have you, then I would suggest that every time the guy's over mowing your lawn or doing whatever that you have, picking your raspberries, picking your blueberries, that's what Democrats think Hispanics or Mexicans do, just have them put the sombrero on your head, and then you can go to the Halloween party and say, hell, the guy from the restaurant put the sombrero on, therefore it's not. I'm just trying to figure out the line here, because it's okay, and you won't get shut down on the social media sites for wearing a sombrero while you're sitting on a saddle or a chair or standing up at a Mexican food restaurant for your birthday, but you could get shut down, scolded, and excoriated if you put a sombrero on to just guard your head. I'm just trying to figure out the balance of where this cultural appropriation starts and where does it stop. So you know that you don't have a good argument again about this government shutdown whenever all you really want to talk about in the news is the sombrero. Let me take you back to the taunting video that we played yesterday that caused numerous ones of you to sneeze the coffee through your nostrils. This is the sombrero sound and the mariachi band heard all around the world. And this is, I think it's just fantastic. This is what Democrats spent most of their time yesterday. Hakeem Jeffries went on shows, and all the excerpts from all the shows weren't why we need to open the government. They weren't why they have a great plan. They weren't to the saying all the things of what they're fighting for. They instead wanted to go on and say Republicans and Donald Trump are racist, because once again, in the face of a government shutdown, when Democrats have chosen because of the self-protection and self-aware, the self-sustaining actions of Chuck Schumer, Democrats have decided to shut the government down. But rather than talking about why that's a good thing and how that works for the betterment of America, they decide to go back to their old tactics and say racist. Look, he's putting up a mariachi band and AI, and I have a sombrero, and they're racist. So again, it is a case in point study that Democrats oftentimes don't have anything intellectual to put on the table. Instead, they have hyperbole, they have vitriol, they have hatred, they have bullets that they'll put in your head or in your neck if they get the chance. That's where Democrats come from today. And even yesterday, the first day of the government shutdown, when they should have been climbing the water tower of media, defending their actions in the Senate of protecting Chuck Schumer more than protecting the American workers out there that work for the government. They instead found themselves also using the word racist. They found a way to use the word racist because Donald Trump has decided to put an retweet or retruth an AI sketch of that. I will show it to you again. And then I have a question. Evidently, a couple of weeks ago, somebody sent me a message earlier this morning that the Democrats were calling Donald Trump a taco a couple of weeks ago. Is that true? I don't know. I just had somebody message me that late last night and emailed me that last night. And then Delilah, I think, might have mentioned it as well. So is it okay? Anybody know what that story is? Put it in the chat rooms wherever you're at out there, whether you're in the Facebook, the Rumble, the YouTubes, or wherever. Now, what was the deal that they called Donald Trump a taco a few weeks ago? And because he was a taco, that was not cultural appropriation, but Hakeem Jeffries wearing the sombrero is. And if anybody can give me the clarity, oh, by the way, Jim says maybe he is actually mad that they put on Steve Harvey's mustache on him and it's not really a sombrero. Yeah, it's not really the sombrero. That could be it. Maybe it's a fake mustache. No, he was complaining about the sombrero. Putting the sombrero on him was racist. And I'm wondering, does he think if he goes to, let's say, the Mexican food place and has a birthday party, him and Nancy, and he puts on a sombrero, or they put it on his head and sing happy birthday or Feliz Navidad or whatever they sing to you, Feliz Cumpleaños, I believe is what it is that cultural appropriation? All right, here it is, the video that caused the meltdown of Hakeem Jeffries. And again, day one of the shutdown, rather than defending what's right, defending and standing up for the Democrat position, they just found another way to use the word racist. Here we go.
There's no way to sugarcoat it. Nobody likes Democrats anymore. We have no voters left because of all of our woke trans bullshit. Not even black people want to vote for us anymore. Even Latinos hate us. So we need new voters. And if we give all these illegal aliens free health care, we might be able to get them on our side so they can vote for us. They can't even speak English, so they won't realize we're just a bunch of woke pieces of shit, you know, at least for a while, until they learn English and they realize they hate us too.
I think the mustache is actually not bad. I think that if you look at that, I think the mustache looks good on Hakeem. By the way, was it on the show yesterday or was it an after show that somebody told me that the nickname, and I did not realize this, the nickname that Hakeem has often had is Dollar Store Obama. You got ripped off, man. You got ripped off. Hakeem is not the sharpest tool in the shed, in my opinion. He's just not the great leader. He can't keep the troops in line. He's not a great defender. And rather than going out there and defending his old buddy Chuck Schumer yesterday, all he could come up with was the fact that they put a sombrero on me, and they must be racist. Anybody want to explain to me what's the racism behind a sombrero? Are we finally going to be done with the days of cultural appropriation accusation? I'm thinking this year that sombreros for Halloween could be making a comeback, and that way you say, I'm not culturally appropriating the Hispanics or the Mexicans. I just want to dress up like Hakeem Jeffries. There's your cover for Halloween. Everybody get your sombrero. I wonder if we do a show on Halloween. I don't know what day of the week it is. Producer Chad, should I do the show in a sombrero? I saw a meme yesterday. The guy had a sombrero on, and when he turned his head down, he had his ball cap that said Trump was right about everything on it, and he said, this is my Trump sombrero. So I think it's funny. Okay, Bob says this. They were calling Trump Taco, trying to say that Trump always chickens out. Yet another leftist lie. Well, he's not going to chicken out. So I didn't know that Trump always chickens out. Taco. Well, look at that racism there by Chuck Schumer and the Democrats, calling someone a taco. He's a honky if I've ever seen a honky, and that's racist. That's bigoted. The mustache was an improvement, just saying. I agree. The mustache, better. All right, so what does Donald Trump do? We just have to continue to point this out. Again, picture this, day one of a government shutdown, day one of when you need to stem the tide, get the momentum of personal public opinion swaying towards you that this is the best thing for us, and it may be hard medicine, but these Democrats are dastardly scoundrels. Rather than doing that, Hakeem Jeffries was just commenting mostly and making the most headlines, not because he was defending the government shutdown or not because he was telling you the Democrat path forward, but what was it? The same exact thing. They're racist. How dare they put that sombrero on my head? By the way, here's the second troll. We played this yesterday, but it's just too good to let go because it's evidently annoying the hell out of the Dollar Store Obama, Chuck of Hakeem Jeffries. So Dollar Store Obama, here's the double down.
It's a disgusting video, and we're going to continue to make clear bigotry will get you nowhere. We are fighting to protect the health care of the American people in the face of an unprecedented Republican assault.
And you know, Donald Trump actually looks good in a sombrero, doesn't he? He looks quite handsome in a sombrero. I could see him wearing the sombrero out there. I think that'd be fantastic. I prefer my little fedora, if you will, and that I wear. But yeah, anyway, there's the meltdown. All right, here's the hypocrisy. This is why the Democrats wanted to talk about sombreros yesterday. Because up until they became cowardly and became afraid of people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, they had always been able to, in let's say the 90s, early 2000s, talk about that, yeah, we should not be wasting government spending on people who break our laws to come here and giving them carte blanche Cadillac health care, just like there's somebody somebody serves the military, they get VA benefits, or you retire, you get a certain age, you get Medicare, or maybe you're just having a tough time, you end up on Medicaid. Just because you break into the country, you shouldn't be the beneficiary of our goodwill and our tax dollars. Well, the reason they wanted to talk about sombreros so much yesterday is because your audio after audio of Democrats up until Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez rose up from the pit of Hades, wherever she came from, the bar room in the Bronx, and she infiltrated and possessed the minds of all her fellow Democrats. Before that happened, Democrats actually agreed with what the Republicans are fighting for, that we can fight about a lot of stuff in the budget, but you should not spend government tax dollars on illegal aliens' health care. Republicans and Democrats used to agree on that, and they even went so bad as to call it fraud prevention. We have to prevent fraud of our Medicare and Medicaid and healthcare system by people with fake IDs, by people that are gaming the system. They're here illegally under no bounds, no rules. Should they get permanent and regular health care from our country at the taxpayer dollars? And this is why they wanted to talk about Sombreros so much yesterday, because there's a lot of video, including this one by Chucky Schumer, talking about illegals getting health care. That would be fraudulent, and we got to stop the fraud. Watch this.
All over where we go, people say, well, why can't you stop illegal immigrants or others from coming here? And the number one answer we give our constituents is when they come here, they can get jobs, get benefits against the law because of fraud. And here, the gentleman from Florida has put together the most effective anti-fraud measure we can find.
Sorry, I was off stage. I got to go back on the stage. I want to pause here because there's a reason I want to pause here. What Chuck Schumer just said when he gave this speech back a decade ago, he said, our constituents ask us, how do we keep these people from coming here illegally? And he says, we're not going to be able to because people are giving them jobs and health care, and they're doing it against the law as well. They're frauding the system, and we have to make sure the fraud stops. So he was telling his constituents up until not too many years ago, and he was making speeches on the floor of the U.S. Senate that, hey, it's fraudulent to give these people these illegals health care. It's fraudulent to give them jobs. We have to stop it. And that's what I tell my constituents. If you want to stop the flow across the southern border, you have to turn off the gravy train. You have to shut down the free lunch buffet. You have to close the Golden Corral for illegals. You got to shut it down and say you can't do it. Even now, that's called racist, right? They call you racist, and they want to talk about the sombrero you have on your racist head. But even Chuck Schumer is admitting, I'll play this again, I want to keep it going, but I'll play this again. Even Chuck Schumer is admitting that it's fraudulent, and if we want to stem the tide of illegals, you got to shut down the feeding program, the insurance program that we put these people on. They can't come here and live the, quote, life of Riley. They got to go back to their own country. And he says it's fraud when we're not doing that. So again, put that in context of what Chuck Schumer is saying now and what he's saying then. And also it explains to you with, what do we say on the program? If Democrats didn't have double standards, they wouldn't have any standards at all. Well, Chuck Schumer no longer views it as fraud, because if he views it as fraud, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is going to come out there. I like that motion. Every time we say her name, everybody in the audience, we see Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and all of us, what we call it bust a move. Come negotiate at my office, knock on my door. All right, we'll do that. Chuck Schumer no longer worries about the fraud, because he's more worried about not frauding the American taxpayers, but he's more worried about, you ready for this? He's not worried about defrauding American taxpayers. He's actually just afraid of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. So let's go.
This is an anti-fraud amendment. All over where we go, people say, well, why can't you stop illegal immigrants or others from coming here? And the number one answer we give our constituents is when they come here, they can get jobs, get benefits against the law because of fraud. And here, the gentleman from Florida has put together the most effective anti-fraud measure we can find without it changing the actions of the government one bit. And we find all this opposition. Ladies and gentlemen of this chamber, what I worry about is that this bill, which started out with good intentions, whether you agree with it or disagree with it, is going to end up being the same kind of thing that the public gets angry with us on. We say we're doing something, and we do nothing.
All right, stop there. It's going to keep going. So Chuck Schumer says, hey, we got illegals coming across. We got to stop the fraud. We got to stop giving them jobs, stop giving them health care. Employers are doing this. Some of it fraudulent. They're just off the books, but we got to stop this nonsense. It's fraud. And he says, I'm afraid people are going to get angry that we're not going to ever solve the problem. We're going to just continue to talk about it. So Chuck Schumer actually one time in his demented life understood what was happening, and he was on the right side of an issue. But now, because he's afraid of sombreros and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Chuck Schumer he's singing a different mariachi song now, isn't he?
Because every time someone makes a rational and small proposal to get something done, People say, well, what about this hypothetical, that hypothetical, etc. I urge support of this amendment. If you believe you want to stop fraud in immigration, you have no choice but to support this amendment.
There you have it. Chuck Schumer, the gavel bangs, and he says to shut down these this health care program and healthcare programs and all the programs for illegals. That's an anti-fraud, and they're defrauding the U.S. government whenever illegal aliens and criminals are receiving the government dole. And so, Chuck Schumer again, if he didn't have a double standard, he wouldn't have any standard at all. And this is why it's much more interesting for Hakeem Jeffries to be able to say. They're put a sombrero on me. How dare them? And that Steve Harvey mustache, all that. And he feigns this vapors. And, oh, my God, I can't believe it. He feigns all that because he doesn't want to talk about the hypocrisy of him and him as dollar store Obama. I like that phrase. Jim says it's scary that the Honorable Mr. Jeffries is the third in line. Actually, he's not, Jim. The Speaker of the House would be third in line, and that'd be Mr. Johnson. Now, if we lose the midterm, and they keep Hakeem Jeffries as their majority leader, then he'd become the Speaker of the House. And after he becomes Speaker of the House, then he would be third in line for the presidency. Dollar store Obama, third in line. But they'd have to win the midterm. Right now, the Speaker of the House is the third in line. So I see where you're going, Jim, and I agree. It could be scary, but it's not about Hakeem Jeffries is just a dollar store Obama hanging out with the cheap suit Chuck Schumer, and that's all you got to worry about right now. But I hear where you're going, Jim. It should be scary that Democrats have put this guy and Chuck Schumer as some of their leaders of their party. Let's again, just for good measure, can we play it again just to make Sombrero Chuck and Hakeem Dollar Store Obama Jeffries angry?
There's no way to sugarcoat it. Nobody likes Democrats anymore. We have no voters left because of all of our woke trans bullshit. Not even black people want to vote for us anymore. Even Latinos hate us. So we need new voters. And if we give all these illegal aliens free health care, we might be able to get them on our side so they can vote for us. They can't even speak English, so they won't realize we're just a bunch of woke pieces of shit, you know, at least for a while until they learn English and they realize they hate us too.
There you have it. There's a dollar store Obama with his sombrero. And one more time, just for good measure, let's look at Donald Trump. Look how he sports that. Have you ever seen the memes where they shave Donald Trump's head and they make him bald, and he looks pretty good bald, right? You've seen those? He has this great coif of hair now, but no, if you shave his head off in the memes, he looks pretty good. Well, it's not just the bald head. Donald Trump is a very fashionable, good-looking fella. Donald Trump says, Donald Trump looks great in a sombrero. He really does. Watch him.
It's a disgusting video, and we're going to continue to make clear bigotry will get you nowhere. We are fighting to protect the health care of the American people in the face of an unprecedented Republican assault.
Every time I see that, I'm thinking, remember the little mouse? It's probably culturally inappropriate now. Remember Speedy Gonzalez? Beep, beep. No, that was Roadrunner. Speedy Gonzalez, the Mexican mouse. That was it's always a fun one. And notice that Donald Trump's sombrero looks very good, and Hakeem's looked like he might have fallen asleep in a drunken stupor on that thing, and Nancy stepped on it. I'm not sure what happened there. All right, good to have all of you here on the show, everybody. How's that government shutdown working out for you? I'm sorry if you were shut down for the government. Did you get paid yesterday? I'm understanding that President Trump, out of the graciousness of his heart, made sure that all the employees got paid yesterday and today, or yesterday and the 30th. They could have stopped those paychecks. They did not. That's my understanding. Let us know if that's your testimony as well. And we'd also love to hear from you to know if not only if you got the paycheck, but have you heard what's the speculation among your colleagues if you're a government worker as to who may be getting the old heave-ho? We're not going with furloughs this time. We're going with actual layoffs and closing down agencies, according to Steve Vaught, who's the chairman of the Office of Management and Personnel in the White House, OMP. And he says, no, we're going to shut some things down. And he's been looking forward to this. This is a Democrat walk in to a backfire situation, I think, and I think they're going to be very upset by that. All right, you hear that Elon Musk has canceled his Netflix? I didn't know that we were canceling things still. I wasn't aware. I have Netflix. About the once or twice a year that I actually watch Netflix, I wonder, why do I pay for this every month? Because I just don't watch it. I think I did cancel for a while or stop the payment But then my son's off at college and he goes, Dad, what happened to our Netflix? I'm trying to watch a show with my buddies. And I said, okay, son, just spend all my money. Why don't you? And I think I have Netflix because he wanted it. And the same thing once a year. I probably should just cancel it. And then once a year when he opines or I want to watch it, we just restart it for a month and then we'd be done with it. Well, evidently Elon Musk has canceled his Netflix. Did you hear this? True story. The Gateway Pundit has it. And Elon Musk has canceled his Netflix. It sparked the trend on social media, hashtag cancel Netflix, because Elon Musk is denouncing a children's series that features a transgender character. I don't know how I missed this one. I thought this would be a bigger story if Elon's involved and it's become a social media phenomenon, but I didn't know it had. It's called Dead End Paranormal Park, is a Netflix series targeted at 7+ age, 7 years and up, and it pushes transgender ideology. This is a tweet from Elon Musk. Check it out yourself. He tweeted a response to a viral clip that exposes the animated series Dead End Paranormal, where the character, aimed and marketed towards 7-year-olds and plus, declares, "I am trans." And anybody heard of this? Gateway Hispanic, who's part of the Gateway Pundit, says this is not appropriate for 7-year-olds. A new series on Netflix features a trans character and is rated for ages 7 and up. Parents need to stay alert and watch what your kids are consuming. This is not appropriate for 7-year-olds. Has anybody heard this controversy? I did not know about it. I did not hear about it. Matt Van Swall, a blue check mark on the Twitter, just said, I just canceled my Netflix subscription. And if you employ someone who celebrated the murder of Charlie Kirk and makes content that pushes pro-trans content on my kids, you will never get a dime of my money. It's as simple as that. And Elon Musk retweeted and said, same. So Elon Musk has canceled his Netflix. And did anybody know this was a thing? I did not know that this was a thing at all. I did not know. All right. We have comments coming in on Rumble. But Trump's mariachi is the funniest one, in my opinion. I think that it really is funny. I mean, just look. Okay, I'm going to do it. I promise I'll not do it anymore. Chris says, I closed my eyes and heard Rush Limbaugh. Where? Are you driving, Chris? I want you to be safe out there. I want you to be very safe. All right, here we go. Watch this. This is the watch Trump play the mariachi. Here he is. And look how jacked up Hakeem Jeffries' hat is right here. Watch it.
It's a disgusting video, and we're going to continue to make clear bigotry will get you nowhere. We are fighting to protect the health care of the American people in the face of an unprecedented Republican assault.
I don't know what happened to his hat. His hat looks like Nancy Pelosi fell down on a drunken stupor or Hakeem passed out somewhere. Anyway, Dollar Store Obama. That is what he shall henceforth be known. I don't know who coined the phrase. Had any of you heard that before yesterday, that he's Dollar Store Obama? I had never heard that he's Dollar Store Obama, but it is a great moniker for him. And I think President Trump should call him Dollar Store Obama as well. Somebody get a hold of the president, Delilah. See if you can send a smoke signal or whatever you use, bat signals or whatever you do. Send the pigeons up to the White House and let them know that Dollar Store Obama is the name that Hakeem Jeffries shall from henceforth be known on. Tell them I'm signing an executive order. It's different than a presidential executive order, but I'm going to sign it here on this show that Hakeem Jeffries should almost always be referenced as Dollar Store Obama. Stacy says Trump looks so adorable with his hats in that video. They're great hats. It's like, he's Trump. They're gold. They're like, they should be gold, but they have gold trim on them, and they're the perfect size. I mean, he had his hats custom tailored for this. He didn't go buy something off the shelf at Jacques Penney. He's also known as J.C. Penney's. No, he went down to the full Joseph A. Bank and had his sombrero custom fitted. And I am telling you, if you've been accused of you cannot wear, it was a while. Several years ago, I had a friend that wanted to go to Halloween dressed up as Juan Valdez. Anybody remember Juan Valdez? The guy that walks in with his ass or his donkey, whatever you want to call it. It's Bible donkey, his ass. He walks in with his ass and he's carrying the coffee up to the Folger's factory or wherever he's going with it. Juan Valdez comes down from the mountains after picking coffee beans. Well, I have to tell you, And by the way, spending a lot of the time of the year that I do in Rwanda, in Africa, where it's the heart of coffee country in Africa. There's a lot of great Rwandan coffees out there. I'm thinking the Hispanic guy wearing the sombrero carrying the coffee is culturally appropriating inappropriately the African that has a coffee farm. There we have it. Right now we're going to get everybody pissed off, because it's the black guy over there. He's got a coffee farm and he's making the coffee beans and roasting them, selling them here in the U.S. And now you got Juan Valdez coming out of the mountains pretending that he's a guy in Africa. I mean, everybody's got reason to be offended here. Everybody gets to be offended. But you're right. His hat does look very, very adorable. I think it's nice. And again, he went full. He didn't go to the Sears clearance section. He went to Joseph A. Bank and said, custom make me the right sombrero. I'm still thinking sombreros, producer Chad, for Halloween. If we dress up, maybe we should be Juan Valdez coming from the mountains. We don't want to be the African coffee farmer because that would require blackface. That would really be bad. But evidently you can wear a sombrero at the Mexican restaurant. So we will stop by before Halloween, stop by the Mexican restaurant, have the Mexican put the hat on me, the sombrero, and therefore I can go to the Halloween party and not be cultural appropriating because I'll just say I just came from the Mexican restaurant and they just saying happy birthday, feliz cumpleaños. By the way, my birthday is in November, just so all of you recognize my birthday is coming up here. All right, good to have on the show. Now, I didn't know that Elon canceled his Netflix. I did not know. Anybody watch the Netflix? I just don't watch the Netflix that often. I apologize for not watching the Netflix all that often. Producer Chad, I know we have a question of the day, and I think I forgot what it was. Let me. Can you remind me in our chat, sir? Can you send me a message of what our question of the day is? I forgot what it was. I did not mark it. We had trouble this morning. We had several guests that were lined up on the program, and at the last minute in the meeting, she's sick. You got a family emergency. Everybody tried to reschedule for yesterday, and so we're kind of running a little bit behind, and I forgot to write that on our show sheet. All right, here's a question for you. It's based on the fact that today is like a national day of name your car. And let me ask you, do you ever name your car? Now, the last car that I didn't name it. I didn't say, hey, go get out in I didn't do that. But I think older people do. I've had, who names their car? And what is the name of your car? Do you name your car? And it's National Name Your Car Day. And I do have to, Jeff says his sombrero still says Chevys. I like Chevys. I think they closed up most places, but I think they're reopening in some places that they closed up. Chevys was a great Mexican restaurant. When I lived in the Bay Area, that was a place that was just around the corner from my loft and enjoyed going there. Chevys. It was a good place. Okay. Do you name your car? Producer Chad thought this was awkward. My Porsche that I was driving for a long time, and I finally got rid of it last year, and I really missed that car. That's the only car I ever had that I had emotions when it left the driveway. When I sold that, Arloa says this is a repeat question of the day. Do we name our car? Arloa, I don't remember this question of the day. Does anybody else remember it? I don't remember it. Because I don't remember telling this story that when I was driving my Porsche, which is obviously a German car, occasionally I would, you ready for this? Occasionally I would, you ready? I would call my car Consuela. So I had my German car culturally appropriating a Hispanic name, and what I really needed were either longhorns on the front of the Porsche or I wanted a sombrero on the top of the Porsche, and I think that would have been great, and we could have called it Consuela. Somebody says, can you call your – who said that? It was probably – I think that said Jim says this. If I call my car a POS, does that count? Yeah, that's a nickname. If you call it POS, I called mine Consuela. It's a little bit more polite than that. RJ says no names. And Arlo is fighting here. She says, because I didn't name a car, but I named my bicycle Nellie Bell. I do remember you naming your bicycle Nellie Bell. For some reason, Arlo, I do remember that. But I thought that was a bicycle discussion. Did you have the cool bicycle? Because I had the Huffy that had the number 56 on it. And my friends had the Mongoose bicycles because they were rich and I was poor. I was just a poor white child wearing a sombrero because that's all we could afford. Don't judge me. Anybody else name your car? Do you have a car name that you drive now? The car that I drive now, I do not have a name for it. I don't care. But I did call my Porsche Consuela, which I thought was sometimes fun. Isn't Betsy like the most popular? Come on, Betsy, let's go. And I do know people that have said, hey, now I have a friend named Benny. Benny, if you're watching, I love you, brother. Thank you for being in my life. Benny's great, but Benny always has the best names. He has Big Bertha. He has Fat Linda. I mean, he's had all these cars, and he gives them better names. Not like it's, hey, go get Hank. No, it's like Handsome Hank or Fat Linda. I think he actually drives a Fat Linda. No, and not like a real person. I think that's a car. He had a big Bertha. He's always, yeah, because he drives bigger cars because he's a bigger guy. It always seems to be a good name. So anyway, let us know your car name if you have one, and feel free to jump in that. All right, I got another fun story here that I want to get to. And the fun story is this. Have you ever tried something for the sake of health that you're like, I'll give it a shot. Why not? Instagram is kind of like the new snake oil salesman for me. I get all these ads for weightlifting and supplements and stuff, and they all look like they're gonna. I get some to say, if you drink this stuff, you're gonna get rid of the dad bod. Your dad bod and your belly will be gone in like 7 days. And I'm gonna be honest. There have been times, and I might have a cabinet in which I have some snake oil. It's stuff that I bought that were supposedly health tricks and health shortcuts, but none of it works at all. You got to cut the calories. You got to cut the drinking. You got to get the exercise in, and that's how you're going to get rid of the dad bod. Well, there's an interesting story out there about wellness hacks that have been shared publicly by celebrities. And so I want to go through some of these because some of them are quite frightening, and this shows why you should not let your kids watch certain celebrities. That's why you got to be careful what they're watching on Netflix, because some of them just follow the Instagram or the Twitter feeds, and they go, oh, look what Kourtney Kardashian did. Look what Beyonce did. Look what Tom Brady did. You ready for some of the full story here? You probably should not do a lot of these advice. This is not good advice, but these are wellness hacks that have been put out there. Some of them are disgusting and some could be dangerous to you, but they have been put out there on social media by celebrities, and people have tried them, and you have to say, what the heck are we thinking? And our public schools and families have failed us if people have tried this. Now, the first one I have is Tom Brady. Now, this is not a bad thing because I think drinking large amount of water can be good for you. Hydration, it keeps you full, lowers the appetite, and there's benefits to drinking water, right? Now, I think we've gone a little overboard in our modern day, because how many of you remember playing all day and you didn't have a water bottle? You didn't have a jug that you carried around? I mean, we got kids now, they go to school and look like they've got the camel's hump on their back. They got water. We did good to even get a sip of the water fountain. And when we did, that nasty water fountain that everybody had slobbered all over, the teacher counted maybe to 5 or 10 seconds, depending on how generous. So I think we might have overdone it with hydration, or maybe we were really underdoing it there. I don't know how we drank so little water as a kid, but we did drink from the hose too. That was something we did. But Tom Brady says drinking large amounts of water will prevent sunburns. I'm not sure it will prevent sunburns. It will give you better health and better skin. I do know that. The hydration helps the skin, the follicles and the pores. I get all that, but preventing sunburns, I'm not sure Tom Brady is giving proper medical advice. If you're a doctor out there, will drinking large amounts of water help sunburns, but it will hydrate you and you'll have more. That's good for you. Drink more water, but don't expect to not get a sunburn. Now, here's what I'm going to skip this one to the very end. Beyonce says she dropped 20 pounds in 2 weeks for the movie Dreamgirls by giving up all solid food and drinking just a concoction of lemon juice, cayenne pepper, and maple syrup. So evidently, that sounds like a cleanse to me. And if she drank that for 2 weeks and lost 20 pounds, Beyonce was full of it. It sounded like Beyonce needed maybe more high fiber in her diet. If she lost 20 pounds just drinking lemon juice, cayenne pepper, and maple syrup, then Beyonce probably was clogged up and had too much cheese in her diet, and she needed to do something. Megan Fox claimed that drinking apple cider vinegar before meals keeps you slim by cleansing out your system entirely. Apple cider vinegar does have health benefits, and so that's not too bad off. The apple cider vinegar diet of the pills has been around for a long time. I've got a good friend who's a doctor, used to be on the show, and he's always, he just drink apple cider vinegar every day. It helps regulate blood sugar for sure. So Megan Fox, probably not that off that apple cider vinegar has benefits, but I'm not sure it cleans out your entire system. Sounds like Beyonce found out how to cleanse the system. Keisha, I'm not sure who Kesha is or Keisha. She drank her own pee-pee because she thought it was good for you. She said she would not recommend it, but somewhere along the way, Kesha is an artist, I guess. Kesha drank her own pee-pee. because she thought it was good for her, and then she said that was a bad idea. So I don't know where Kesha got that idea, but if you ever see a meme or something from someone saying you should drink your own pee-pee, don't do that, because Kesha even says you shouldn't do that. So even if you thought she did, she says she would not recommend it. Gwyneth Paltrow and Goop sold jade and rose quartz eggs for women to put up their lady bits. Let me say this again. They made a product. They were rose quartz eggs. I'm not going to look these up. That women were supposed to put up in their lady bits to get feminine energy and to increase V-word muscle tone. By the way, Gwyneth Paltrow got sued for that. That's bad medicine. So if Gwyneth Paltrow or anybody walks up and says, hey, here's a rose quartz egg and you should shove it there and it will make your muscle tone better, you probably should not do that. Kim Kardashian, listen to this one. She received what's called a vampire facial, which is you take your own blood and they spin it down. It's called platelet-rich plasma, and then they inject it in your face. And she says it's very painful, and she would not do it again. Anybody had PRP, platelet-rich therapy? They do it. It's a really good therapy for some injuries and what have you, but it does hurt. I've had it. Platelet-rich plasma is not an easy treatment. They take the blood, but the injections are a little bit painful, but they can really help with certain injuries. And but I'm just not sure I want to do that as a facial. That's not good. All right, I've saved this one, and I'm going to get to your stories. Do you have any health hacks that you want to admit that you've actually tried and you thought they were going to help you? They thought you were going to be skinny again or healthy again. You're going to live longer, and you drank it, and it was snake oil, and now you would like to admit, like Kesha, did anybody else drink their own pee-pee? I hope not. Please don't do that. But here's one. This is the top one that's on the list that I just have to tell you because I report, you decide. You ready for this? Delicate ears, please close your ears. I'm gonna fill in the blank with a beep here. Kourtney Kardashian. That's different than Kim Kardashian, who got the vampire facial with the platelet-rich plasma. Kourtney Kardashian said her doctor. Let me repeat that. Kourtney Kardashian says that her doctor told her that drinking, not alcohol, not pee-pee, if you're in the Navy and you go to sea, what are you? You're a seaman, right? Yeah. I just wanted to quiz you on military history. Kourtney Kardashian says that her doctor said that drinking, if you're in the Navy and you go off to sea in a boat, what are you called, Chad? Producer Chad? You're called a seaman, right? Yeah. Well, Kourtney Kardashian says her doctor said that drinking certain things up to 4 times a week would help your fertility. I don't know if Kourtney Kardashian or her doctor understand that if you want to increase your fertility, drinking that is not how that's going to happen. 4 times a week may be good, and it may increase the possibility, but not drinking it. I don't know where this. She says her doctor told her to do that. And again, if you're in the Navy and you head off in a boat, you're a seaman, right? Mm-hmm. Kourtney Kardashian. Again, I hate to break. I hate to break the news to you. And here's Jeff jumping right in, shocking our sensibilities. He says, "I heard that's good for facials too." Anyway, there we have it. We have devolved in the show to simple sophomore humor. But I'm just telling you simple health hacks. Now I do something here. I'll give my health hack. You ready for mine? Roger says drinking sailors. Sailor Jerry's. Is that a rum or something? No, Kourtney Kardashian. What's funny is it's not like she tried it on her own. She says her doctor told her, and I'm like, I want to get her doctor on the program. Because maybe she understood that if you receive the sailors 4 times a week, your fertility is going to increase, right? Maybe he said but you not drinking. That's bad. The Jim says the doctor won a bet with that recommendation. Hey, you want to see if I can go viral? I'm going to tell Kourtney that if she takes a chug of that sailing sailor out on the ocean, if she does that 4 times a week, that she's going to increase that fertility. Is Courtney fertile? I don't know. I don't know if she has good fertility or not, but evidently she's got a bad taste in her mouth. That's for darn sure. All right. Craig says I call my car La Fonda. It's a black Yukon Denali. Thank you, Craig. I appreciate that. I called my German Porsche Consuela. I just go back to that one. Somebody now should name their car after the sailor that goes off to sea. Call him a seaman. That's what you should do. Just don't drink it. Just ride it and drive it around. All right. What else do I have in the news we got to get to? Wild celebrity health hacks. I got that. What else do I have? Oh, McDonald's. You hear they're bringing back Monopoly after 10 years? Anybody remember playing Monopoly at McDonald's? Now, I'll tell you, I survived college on McDonald's. I did not make a lot of money in college. I was not born with a silver spoon in my mouth. Any silver spoon that has gone into my mouth, I have earned it on my own. I had not. Yeah, I was born a poor child. I had a horrible job. It was a great job. It was fun at the time, but I was making a little bit of money at a part-time job that I gave my whole heart to and worked at it. It was at a church actually. And so I made some money. I got like $100 or something a week. And it was maybe 50, but I didn't make much money. I barely paid the gas. But that was a job. And I had another job for a while. I worked at Sears one time in my life. I worked at Sears as a young guy. I was a paper boy throwing the papers, but nevertheless, in college they started the Monopoly game at McDonald's. And I figured out it was like going to Vegas for me because about 1 in 2 to 1 in 3 visits, I could budget my McMuffin bill on the way to class and go through the drive-thru and get myself a McMuffin or something. And certain breakfast sandwiches had the Monopoly thing. And usually more chances than not, I mean, probably 50% or north, I think I could actually peel off and get another free breakfast sandwich. So I'd buy one breakfast. It was a buy one, get one free program. But Mickey D's is bringing back the Monopoly game. And I'm going to admit it. I didn't know it's been 10 years ago since that happened, but I'm going to admit it. I like the Monopoly game. It brings back good memories of my life and good memories of my childhood. I think Monopoly is a fantastic thing. It was at the time. But the last few times I've ever seen it, you get a large drink, you get the Monopoly, you peel it off the side of the cup. And you know what? I don't think I've won a thing in Monopoly at McDonald's in a while. So it's a big breaking news story. For the first time in 10 years, McDonald's is bringing the Monopoly game back. And I've just got to tell you that it's not as good as it used to be. McDonald's, you need to up your game of that Monopoly. I would have starved to death as a college student if I did not have the Monopoly game at McDonald's. And I have to say, I have to tell you that I would have starved, but I could get free breakfast off the Monopoly game at McDonald's. And so there's starving college kids out there, and they're not going to get to eat well because the Monopoly game at McDonald's sucked 10 years ago, and I hope they get it better. Roger says, silver spoon serving sailors, say it 4 times fast. Silver spoon serving sailors, seamen. What? No, see, that's the sailors are the guys that go off in the sea, right? That's what they are. Courtney says 4 times a week. Wrong place, Courtney. All right. Good. I like it. Now I'm looking up at the chat room windows. There's a very small window that's on the screen, and all the ladies have gone quiet, and it's all guys. All the guys are thinking, this is great. This is funny. We're talking about sailors going off to sea. Yeah, we are. I apologize for that. All right, a couple of more stories I want to get to. As I said, we started the show late today because of Jay. We were waiting to hear from Jay Ratliff. I haven't heard from Jay in a day or so. He usually, late last night, would usually send me a message. So I'm not sure if Jay's going to join us or not. Maybe something has come up. I pinged Jay early this morning. We had Leslie Corbley on the show. She had to pull out a family emergency. Gregory Wrightstone had something come up, wanted to move till tomorrow. So we were a little late starting the show, kind of hustling and bustling, trying to get everything together because we had 3 guests that just kind of vaporized it within about 20 minutes. So that's where we're running a little bit late. It's a little different show today. But I do like it. It's all the guys over there commenting. When was the last time we had a female comment? It's been like 15 minutes ago. The last lady that commented out there was before I told you about Kourtney Kardashian. And after the Kourtney Kardashian, the ladies go quiet. All right, what else do we have? I think we're about done. Let me show you a couple of memes out here. Some of the memes. By the way, somebody just messaged me over here, said, show the sombreros again. We've shown it enough, right? I think we've seen the dancing Donald Trump sombrero enough. Somebody did ask if they could screenshot this yesterday, and I said, I'll leave it up longer. Remember whenever they're talking about all these transgender issues, and Donald Trump is so mean because Pete Hegseth said we're not going to have the trainees in the military anymore. We're not going to talk DEI. This is just an important lesson. Maybe explain this to the youngsters. They need to go back and watch some MASH. But anybody who remembers, it was before my time. I kind of remember being on. I don't know if I'm going to be honest, I don't think I've ever watched a full episode of MASH. It was just a previous generation of me. I'm a little bit younger than the MASH crew. But I do know who Klinger was, and Klinger dressed up like a woman in the show, and he dressed up in a woman to show that he was mentally ill so he would not have to go to the front lines of the battle. So I'm just throwing that out there that Pete Hegseth came out this week and said no more trainees and no more dudes in dresses in the military. We're going to stop that. Please remember that it was back in the 70s that it was well known, and Hollywood was even comfortable portraying it, that if you dressed up like a woman and you're a grown-ass man, you had a mental illness. Think of that message that Hollywood was sending through Klinger and the character that became famous. And how would Hollywood portray that now? Hollywood today has gone so far that rather than saying a man dressed up like a woman is mentally unfit to go to war and go to battle, and if you want to avoid battle and you want to avoid that, you just put on a dress because everyone will know you're sick in the head, because it is a sickness in the head. It really is a sad situation. We have a lot of people that are just sick in the head and with this transgender ideology, when it's really just more of a mental health issue. So how would Hollywood today portray Klinger? If you had somebody going off to war and they wanted to portray themselves as mentally ill, can you imagine? They'd probably say, he wears a MAGA hat. He can't go off to battle. And yet, would you rather Hakeem Jeffries, Dollar Store Obama go off to battle for you, or would you rather somebody with a MAGA hat? I'll take the guy with the MAGA hat. So anyway, I just want to put that up there. If you didn't get a chance to screenshot it or see it, that's what I put up yesterday. Remember, Klinger dressed like a woman to show that he was mentally ill. All right, this is a story I did not get to today. There's a couple of things because of our last scramble of guests and removing some things I didn't get to today. I didn't get to upload the photos, and I'll do that for tomorrow. I promise you, I teased it yesterday. John Didu, who is a young man that we sent out an email to I know some of you got it. If you're not on our email list for Rivers Promise, you should be. John Didu is one of the earliest kids in our program. And John Didu, he got sponsored at 8, and we sent him an email about his life, and he's now 23. He's on a United Nations mission representing Rwanda, keeping peace under the United Nations flag in South Sudan, and he's going to come back. But anyway, it's a fascinating story, great story, and it just shows what happens when you take a chance and you believe in a kid and you sponsor a kid. Whether you sponsor a kid or a class, it doesn't matter. Maybe you want to name the kid, maybe you just want to give the money. There's powerful things that happen whenever you invest in kids that are wrapped up in the bonds of poverty. So if you would like to read that, I can send me an email. I'll forward it to you, or just get on our email list at riverspromise.org. Riverspromise.org. We'd love to have you sign up for that list. But I didn't get to do that, and I also did not get to develop this story this morning, and I wanted to with one of our guests that canceled yesterday, but I had the meme ready, and this one. This is a true fact. Let this sink in. I think probably the majority of our audience is 35 or older. I'm guessing our target spot's about 35. That's where we're probably at. We keep making jokes about Navy men going off into the ocean. We'll probably get a younger audience and lose the old. I don't know. If you're 35 or older, yes, you have had less vaccine doses than a 6-month-old baby. The only exception to me would be some of you that were pin cushions back in the military. You probably have more because they used you as a guinea pig. All right, I did ask the question yesterday, have any of you called your U.S. Senate? I don't think this shutdown is going to last forever. I think you already have some 3 breaks, 1 independent and 2 Democrats have already broken, 4 more. They need 7. And then J.D. Vance, comes in with a tie-breaking vote at that time. If they can get 8, I think it works out nicely. I think it's going to cave pretty quickly because there's no purpose to it. Whenever you have to distract yourself and make it about sombreros rather than about the principled ground you're standing on, you have a real problem. I asked any of you yesterday, have any of you called your member of Congress, the Senate, and asked them, if you're in Colorado, have you called Michael Bennett? Have you called the barmaid, John Hickenlooper? If you have, well, I want to keep getting those stories. Make sure you do. Jim just sent a message over. It's flashed on my screen. Here's the post from Bennett asking us to call him since his office is open during the shutdown. You ready for this? Michael Bennett, I see it here. Thanks, Jim, for that information. Michael Bennett says, we're open. My office is open to help Coloradoans during the government shutdown. and he gives out his phone number. Who would like Michael Bennett's phone number? And call him and ask him, why is he shutting down the governor? Why is he siding with Dollar Store Obama? Why is he doing this? Right, here's your pen and paper. Ready? And you can go back and listen to repeat on the show. The number on his email, Colorado, is 303-455-7600. If you're in Colorado and you want to do the local office number, be polite. I want you to be impolite. I want you to just say, hey, this is dumb, man. Why are you so willing to shut down America so that Chuck Schumer avoids a primary challenge for Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez? Why is it that you cannot accept the fact that you lost an election, and this is the same continuing resolution that so many Democrats, including Chuck Schumer, voted for 13 times in the past, exactly verbatim, word for word. The Republicans aren't even trying to sneak anything in on it. They're just, so we'll do the same one. You did it back in December, November, December for Biden. You did it again in March, and now we're going to do it one more time. Michael Bennett says his office is open. Thanks, Jim, for the information. Here's his number in Colorado is 303-455-7600. If you want to call the Washington, D.C. office of Michael Bennett, his office is open. I'm guessing he's making his staff work there without pay because I don't know if they're going to get paid. The Washington office is 202-224-5852. I would maybe suggest the Washington office, especially. Colorado, call both of them and register your sound off. Be polite, be courteous. But again, the Washington, D.C. office for Michael Bennett, the marble mouth Michael Bennett, is 202-224-5852. 202-224-5852. All right, can I talk about Sherry Cree, to be exact? We're heading now in the month of October. Interest rates have started to come down. The real estate market goes through ebbs and flows. Some of it's seasonal, some of it's about holidays, some of it's about interest rates. But you need to know the area you're in, the timing of it all. You need to have that strategy based on, is this a buyer's market? Is this a seller's market? If it's a seller's market, what's the best strategy to get top dollar for the seller as the seller for your home? If it's a buyer's market, you need to make sure you have somebody that knows how to find those deals for you that are out there. You just got to know how to find them. The real estate selling, it's complex. It's not this. I would tell you, this is not a do-it-yourself project. This is not something you're going to YouTube. These are people that are masterful. To get a real estate license in Colorado is not easy. Some states it takes about 24 hours and you get a license in the mail. Colorado's not like that. These guys are almost like paralegals. I'm amazed at what realtors have to do in this state to stay current and even to pass the test. And take them a long time to study. So a realtor is a real deal. And the right realtor is a real deal. And Sherry Cree is the real deal. Listen, real estate can change. It can change seasonally. The interest rates have said you're coming into a colder season here in Colorado soon. A lot of folks don't want people touring their home or going out to look for a home in the cold and see people's Christmas decorations. And there's different strategies at different times of year. And you can start planning ahead with Sherry Cree for the strategy that you need based on the time frame that you're in. Maybe you're thinking this, maybe you want to get to the end of the next spring, 6-8 months down the road, but so that the kids aren't in school, and that's when you want to buy a house. So that's okay. But did you know that the spring selling season in most places is not March, April, May? It begins in February and March. A lot of times the Super Bowl can be a time that people go, okay, winter's over, Super Bowl's done, nothing on television to watch, let's sell the house. There's windows of opportunity here, and you can plan ahead for those windows. Do myself a favor, do your family a favor, do your generational wealth a favor. Homeswithsherry.com, homeswithsherry.com. Let me say it again, homeswithsherry.com. Reach out to her, and even if you're not ready to put that home up for sale now, you're not willing to start looking for a home. Maybe your window is after the Super Bowl. Maybe it is March, April, May, after the kids are out of school. Whatever the case may be, go ahead and strategize with her and have that conversation. Homeswithsherry.com. She'll be on the program with us tomorrow, as she is every Friday, with some real estate tips and advice. But homeswithsherry.com. Have the conversation. If you're in Colorado, anywhere from the Denver metro area, the I-25 corridor, if you're down in Southeast around Parker and Aurora, if you're up north in Fort Collins, if you're in Greeley, if you're in Boulder, Broomfield, you get the idea. If you're on that 119 line out there, Firestone into Longmont, maybe you're in Erie, Colorado, you know where you're at. Thornton, you want it? She's sold a lot of homes in Thornton. Homeswithsherry.com, homeswithsherry.com, homeswithsherry.com. Feel free to reach out to her and make sure you mention my name to her. Homeswithsherry.com. Conversation, interview, have a conversation. Bob says this in the Facebook forum on one of the Facebook pages. He says it's harder to get a realtor license in Colorado than it is to get a CDL license in New York or California. Did any of you see that scary story from Oklahoma? Anybody see that? Scary story from Oklahoma. They decided to do a sting operation, and they just set up a checkpoint, I think, right off Interstate 40 that goes across the heart of Oklahoma. And in just a couple of days, they did a sting. They had all the trucks pull over and just check their paperwork. They have the right to do that. Make sure your sleep logs are up and everything, your driving logs are accurate. Well, they also checked driver's license, and they arrested 124 truck drivers driving through with semi-trucks through the heart of Oklahoma, delivering freight, delivering whatever they're doing, going to wherever they're going across America with CDLs that were not accurate. Like some of them, it was like a Pennsylvania or New York or whatever the ID. It literally did not have a name on it. It said presented to no name. Some of these states were actually handing out nameless and faceless CDLs. They had a number on them, but they had no identifiers. And there's 124 people arrested for that. And hopefully all got their asses deported as well, because you're a bad hombre if you're doing that. You should be deported for putting all of us at risk with a fake driver's license. And yet in some of these states, it was a real driver's license. The state gave it to them, and they were so willing to give them out. They wouldn't even, you don't have to come in for a photo. You don't even have to give us your real name. We'll send it to you. And they had CDLs from certain states. Look it up. We'll talk about that tomorrow. It was a really scary story. Didn't get near enough press because everybody wanted to talk about sombreros. But F the sombrero conversation. We should talk about the illegal CDL conversation. And it was really scary. That's just in Oklahoma. That's just on I-40 in Oklahoma. The Highway Patrol set up a sting operation, and they just wanted to check truckers' paperwork like at the weigh station or whatever they have to go through. And in doing so, they arrested 124 people with fake or false or not accurate CDL driver's license, driving the big rigs. And they're driving them with what they think are what is considered in some states to be a legit driver's license. And they were arrested in Oklahoma because some of the IDs did not even have names or faces on them. They were just issued, but we don't know who to. All right, good to have you here on the program. Jay Ratliff, we did not hear back from him. It was a strange show this morning because we had several people rearrange their schedule at the very last minute. Did not hear from Jay. I'll check in on Jay, but don't forget jratliff.com, one of our great friends of the program. If you want to learn day trading, he's a great asset to do that. I know we talk travel with him a lot, but travel is not all that he knows. He's a prolific day trader, and you can go to daytradefun.com, daytradefun.com, F-U-N, or you can also just go to Jay Ratliff, R-A-T-L-I-F-F, jratliff.com. Proud friend of the show and supporter of the show. We always like to give out his website every time he's on. He's not on right now, but we'll give it his website as well, jratliff.com or daytradefun.com. All right. A couple more comments, and people wonder why Scott says this on Rumble, why there are so many accidents on I-80 through Wyoming these days. That would be another one. If they had that many arrests in just a matter of several hours on I-40 in Oklahoma, I-80 ought to do this as well. I think they should do the test up there. Wyoming could pull some of these truckers over and find out who's running this thing as well. Let's see one more comment coming in. If the authorities in Colorado did checkpoints, Governor Polis would pardon all the violations. That's true. That's true. You got a trucker with a bad driver's license, CDL, that kills people on Interstate 70 coming down from the high country a couple of years ago. And Jared Polis gets a call from, who was it? The Kardashians. Wasn't it the Kardashians that called Jared Polis to get out? I wonder if it was I wonder if it's the one that up to 4 times a week, were drinking things that would be called sailors that go out to sea, or was it the one who got the vampire facial? That would be a good question. Which one is, because evidently you can convince politicians and get your way if you're drinking certain things, or if you're, was it the semen drinker or was it the blood vampire facial Kardashian that convinced Jared Polis to pardon that illegal or commute his sentence? That's a great question. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got to wrap this thing up. Thanks for your patience today. We kind of scrambled around to do the show because everybody kind of switched up on us. Very strange. We'll have a lot of them probably going to reschedule, resurface tomorrow for the Friday edition. But here it is. The globe is in my hand. Oh, by the way, I got to push this one more time. This will soon not be in this studio. It'll be down the hall of the other studio. It's the latest by Doug Giles, who'll be on the show hopefully tomorrow. And this is the Charlie Kirk painting, citing the scripture Revelation 14:13. And there's Doug Giles' little signature there. And if you'd like a print of that, you can actually go to douggiles.art, douggiles.art. Last week, I put in a keyword. Message. I got to remember what the keyword is, and I'll make sure you get a discount there, about 20% off, that he makes it available for you. So anyway, go order that, Doug Giles, hopefully on the show tomorrow. And you won't see that here. You'll see that in the other studio very, very soon. All right, here we go. You ready? Round and round the globe. This is the stolen meme section of the show. You ready? Round and around the globe we go. Where we steal the memes from, no one knows. Producer Chad warned me before the program that he had inappropriate memes for today. And I didn't know how inappropriate they would be. And I'm just going to let that one stand alone. I'm not going to read it. I'm going to let you look at it. That's definitely not eye candy. That's for sure. You know what I'm saying? Not eye candy. If you're listening on the podcast, go to the YouTube, go to the Facebook, go to the X, go to the Rumble, go all the platforms are on, and go watch it. It's she's had a little bit of candy, a lot of candy. Right. I'm not going to say it. I am not going to say it. All right. How to tell the difference between affect and effect. You ever struggle with that? How do you do affect and effect? Affect equals F around. Producer Chad does this. Don't be blaming me. Okay. I'm singing "Oh How I Love Jesus" over here, and producer Chad's putting up the F words everywhere. Effect is find out. FAFO. You know what that means, right? Okay. I can't read these. My sensibilities vapors. I can't. I'm as offended by these as Hakeem Jeffries is at a sombrero. I'm gonna find my sombrero. Round around the globe we go. Here we go. This is from Jeff. Jeff sent this in. Ready? When a fly flies through a fart, do you think they ever feel the same way we do when we drive past a barbecue place? Jeff sent me that yesterday. I think it was Jeff. It was Jeff, yeah. Jeff sent that over, and I forwarded to producer Chad. I said, this is from Jeff. So this is contemplation. This is wisdom. I think you got to think this through. When a fly flies through a fart, do you think they feel the same way we do when we drive past the barbecue joint? It's really something worth considering. Oh, by the way, I see my name on the screen now. My Porsche. Producer Chad didn't spell my porch. This is my Porsche. Porsche. Producer Chad didn't feel well today. He's doing the show in pain, though. Everybody be nice to producer Chad. My Porsche was named Consuela. It was. I didn't really. I never said go jump in Consuela, but occasionally I say, hey, Consuela, let's go have a ride. Sometimes I did that. Round and around the globe we go. Where we steal the memes from, no one knows. This is true versus Democrats. Look at this progressive person doing childhood story time at the library. Oh, look at that extremist over there. We got to, that's your modern day Democrat party that's also offended that dollar store Obama ended up with a sombrero on and a mariachi band. Round around the globe we go. Where we steal the memes from, no one knows. Dems call for common sense control, common sense sombrero control. Yeah, we got common sense sombrero control. We have too many sombreros on the street. We need common sense reform on the sombreros. That crackers and dollar store Obama should not be superimposed into a sombrero. By the way, Donald Trump's sombrero looked better than theirs. Round around the globe we go. Where you steal the memes from, no one knows. Ladies and gentlemen, we have milked the meme machine dry, and I'm going to go on my porch and tell it it's not a car. I didn't name it Consuela, but Porsche. The Porsche was named Consuela. It was really confusing, especially at the nightclubs. You know, they'd say Porsche's on stage 4, and I'm like, is it Porsche? Is it Consuela? I don't know. Who's there? Who's on first? Yeah, I didn't know. Can we go? Are we ready to go? This show devolved about a half hour in. When we hit the place, we're going to have guests. Dennis says, much to talk about, Jimmy, between the illegals and illegal CDLs. It's wreaking havoc on the industry. Yeah, we'll talk more about that because this Oklahoma study was interesting, and I hope some other states will do it. Now, Jared Polis would never have the common sense or the courtesy or the dignity to do such a spot checking of CDLs that come up I-25. But I-25, I think, is one of the most dangerous corridors you can find, at least in the region, if not in America. There's just an unsafe road produced by Jared Polis and his hatred for Donald Trump. Not enough lanes, too much traffic, and now you hear the CDLs makes you want to avoid that. And I know some of you back and forth on the Interstate 70, whether you're heading up into the mountains, so when you come through Colorado or you're heading out towards Kansas, out to the airport, I-70 is a very dangerous. I avoid the highways. Anybody who rides with me knows I avoid the highways in Colorado as much as I possibly can because I think they're very dangerous. And when you hear that on I-40 in Oklahoma, they're shutting down, arresting people with fake and fraudulent CDLs, driving these many-ton vehicles with semi-trucks and trailers, and they're driving around and they're not trained to do it, not qualified to do it, putting all of us at risk. This is the policy of the Democrat Party. That's what it boils down to. When you have 124 people arrested in Oklahoma alone, driving CDLs illegally, but they're here illegally as well. And they're getting these licenses from these trucking companies. These trucking companies should be shut down. They should be fined. They should go to prison, jail, because they're risking all of us, all of us indeed. All right, ladies and gentlemen, great to have you here on the program. We got to wrap this thing up for today. If you'd like to join us tomorrow, you can do that. That's the Friday edition of the show. We'll be back here on the 3rd day of October. We'll see if the government shutdown is still going. Until we meet again, I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Thanks for being here. Don't forget our charity work. Our work in charity is ongoing. Our work in charity is ongoing. All you got to do is go to riverspromise.org, riverspromise.org, make a donation, sponsor a child. We'll talk more about that tomorrow. Until we meet again tomorrow, may God bless you. May God bless America. I am Jaime Lagos. I am Jimmy Lakey. Peace. I'm out of here. I miss you.